2 weeks ago on our program, we took you to South America, where a trade delegation from the American Farm Bureau focused on a free trade agreement with Colombia. This week, we examined how a free trade agreement with Panama could also benefit U.S. agriculture. While the U.S. currently enjoys a trade surplus with the Central American nation, the stage is set for competitors who want to cut into U.S. farm exports.
There was a time when Panama didn't rely so heavily on farm imports to feed its people, but following construction of the Panama Canal, Panama's economy began to shift to one based on service, away from manufacturing and agriculture. Today, nearly 70% of Panama's GDP is service-based. That means it's a market ripe for agricultural exports, particularly crops from the U.S. In fact, Panama's Minister of Agriculture says Panamanians love Louisiana rice.
The Panamanian likes the rice to be spongy, and it doesn't stick, and that's one of the things that the Panamanians like about their rice, Louisiana rice.
During a meeting with Panamanian ag and trade officials, members of the American Farm Bureau's Trade Advisory Committee learned that a free trade agreement with Panama would only enhance trading opportunities with the Central American nation.
There are things that can be produced in the United States that cannot be produced in Panama. And there are crops that can be produced in Panama that cannot be produced in the States.
Over the last 5 years, the U.S. has exported more than $1 billion in farm commodities to Panama. In fact, the USDA says American farm products account for more than 50% of all food products shipped to Panama annually. But countries like Brazil and Argentina could soon begin to cut into that market share, particularly where processed or consumer-ready products are concerned. The tariff rates are low for bulk U.S. farm products, but higher on U.S. processed exports like beef and pork, all products Panamanian consumers are demanding.
It's good for the United States, it's good for Panama, mostly for the United States. We made sure that we had a good agreement. We've been partners with the United States for a long time, and I think if you take into account what's going on in the rest of the world.
Right now, more than 95% of exports from Panama to the U.S. are duty-free. Under a Panamanian free trade agreement, more than 50% of all U.S. farm exports to Panama would become duty-free immediately. For U.S. farmers, that means a more competitive edge in Panama. For consumers, it means better prices at the supermarket. As U.S. farmers export more, they grow more, meaning more stable prices for the products that show up in our local grocery stores.